All right, guys, I'm a little bit delusional, just a little bit. We've been running a lot. We're doing Hell Week. If you guys haven't experienced it, last year we did this. Like 7 mile mornings, 500 burpees, 200 pull-ups. Like it's supposed to be. It sounds like a competitive fitness competition, but to be honest with you, it's all mental. This is something we're gonna do in our tradition as a company. You should do it too. You should definitely hedge your emotions with physical pain, pain tolerance, and definitely think about your health, like we've always talked about in this channel. But yeah, in today's video, I want to talk about some altcoins. I want to talk about the specific altcoin that's coming out literally in the next couple of days. And I also want to take a stab at Bitcoin's price because I want to give you guys different perspectives. I've been focusing a lot of my research on Bitcoin because for obvious reasons, we're coming to an ultimatum moment for Bitcoin. And if it does do well, this altcoin might do really, really well. I think we could potentially get like a 50 to 100x, especially it depends on when the price they sell it at. It's one of these, launches that are coming out soon. So you can take advantage of it as well. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another video, and I want to talk about this altcoin that's like extremely super, it's like a super team of all crypto guys came together to make this project. Now, I like Metaverse tokens, and this happens to be a Metaverse cryptocurrency, so I might potentially participate in the actual launch and buy some of this token. Pay attention to what's going on because I talk about things for a reason. If you appreciate this content, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, turn on the post notifications. So there's a little bell underneath the video. If you click that, then it's going to take you on your app. If you have the YouTube app on your phone, which is the best way to view YouTube for sure. And then it'll take you to this actual screen where it'll tell you to turn on notifications for YouTube itself. You should definitely do that because when you get my notifications, these videos are definitely time sensitive, hence the video we're talking about today, because we're going to be talking about Bitcoin's price. And literally, I've been telling you guys that everything's leading up to the end of January. So it's literally like within the next 2 weeks. And I will be making intense content about Bitcoin's price, where the market is going in general. And I will be making some big decisions. Let me say that again. The market is at an ultimatum point, and I will be making some big decisions. Turn on the notification bell to get the content first. So the first thing I want to do is kind of briefly go over the Bitcoin market. And you guys know this fractal because I've been talking about it pretty much every video. But I do want to point out something that's very interesting. First things first, we have this weird ban news that recently came out about an hour ago. So if we come over here, you can see that Russia proposes a ban on the use of mining cryptocurrencies. And this is January 20th, which is today. And the funny part about that is that we actually had some obvious China ban news with, they're cracking down on Bitcoin mining. And that happened to be the news that took down the market in May. It was part of it for sure. As you can see this red arrow here, this is around the debacle of China banning Bitcoin, right? And you can see that this was kind of like the original piece of news that led to this massive manipulation and liquidations on longs. So I think it's very interesting that they're trying to drop this other Russia ban news literally right here. And I also think it's interesting is the timing is impeccable. If we bring it down to the hourly, you could literally see that we have this spike, and I want to show you right here, which is 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you look at it again, look at it one more time. 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, January, 2022. Now, the really interesting, again, piece of news about this is that CoinDesk dropped an article at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can see right here. So literally an hour later, the price of Bitcoin starts to pump. Now, what does that tell you? What that tells you is that there's some guy out there that wants some liquidity, okay? If you are a billionaire or you're somebody with $500 million and you want to buy Bitcoin, what do? In this case, you try to dump the price. You try to bring out some FUD, like Bank of Russia calls for full Bitcoin ban, okay? You try to bring out some FUD. People sell their bags. They get rid of their bags, right? Because they're panicking in fear. This FUD causes people to freak out, right? And they start emotional investing. And then if I'm a billionaire, there you go. I got my cheap crypto. I got my liquidity to enter, right? Because if you have a lot of money and you want to buy a lot of crypto, what you have to understand is that you will move the price as you buy. So if you have millions of dollars, you have $50 million, you have to find an effective way to spread it across multiple exchanges. This is called the OTC desk. Not only that, but you have to find yourself some good liquidity. You got to take some bags from some people because there's a big liquidity crunch in Bitcoin. You guys know this because of the scarcity element or the Bitcoin halving event. And the fact that most of the Bitcoin is just coming off the exchanges. These millionaires slash billionaires are literally at war to try to take as much Bitcoin as possible. And the funny part about it is that they dropped this news and it seems like people wisened up. Literally 1 hour later, the price of Bitcoin jumped. It could be two reasons, okay? It could be people are wising up to the BS FUD that they always put out at strategic moments to try to get more Bitcoin or to try to sell off Bitcoin. That's the first one. People are just smarter now. The second one is they try to get some liquidity and they just move the market. They scared everybody out. People flooded it out of their bags. The price goes up because all the whales bought their bags, okay? It's very interesting. Not only that, but if we come over here, I think I want to make the case for maybe one more dump, right? Because if we look at Bitcoin's fractal, again, I'm going to pull it back up to the daily. We're going to pull up to the 1 day here. You can see, okay, I've been saying over and over again that we're probably going to retest, this kind of all-time low here. So let me just move this fractal. You can see it in the fractal, but you can see we kind of came down to this point. Then we filled the wick, okay? We got a little bit lower. We kind of came back to it again. So this might be the last moment, but I think it's more likely that we'll come back, retest it in a significant way before the end of January, and then the price will reverse. It could be now, it could be towards the end of January. But if we look right here, again, we have this full candlestick and then this long wick, right? We fill the wick and then we get back down to around the same area. So it could be that it's either happening right now, like literally right now, the market will reverse, or it could be we get one more dump. Right? It's either or. I haven't sold any Bitcoin. I'm not making any decisions. I haven't sold any altcoins at all. So to be completely honest, this is just me evaluating the price and all the information I see. Okay. Another thing that pushes me towards maybe one more dump is the fact that people are just a little bit too bullish. If we look at top trader long/short ratio accounts, you can see that more people are bullish than bearish. Now, the point of that is, again, if you're thinking about the whales, what they want to do is they want people to panic and fear. They want to buy the Bitcoin and bring it back as soon as you just got out of your position. You sold your Bitcoin because you thought it was a scam. You realized your losses. They're going to come in with one big sweep, push everybody out of the market as much as they possibly can. And maybe this is their attempt with this, Russia ban news. Maybe that's their attempt at doing it, but they're going to try to flush the market out one more time and then take your cheap Bitcoin. It happens every single time. So you can see, again, people are more bullish. Literally 70 to 75% of people are more long than short right now. And they could see all of this data. You could also see it in long to short ratio in general. So pay attention to that. Bitcoin can go either way. I think personally, I'm leaning towards one more dump, but I am not acting as so. I'm not selling any crypto, trading on it. I just think it's going to happen. Now we could reverse today and it would be a great thing as well, but let's jump into this altcoin. I do want to talk about it. And then towards the end of the video, I want to touch back on the Bitcoin subject one more time because I have an ultimate lesson that I think you guys can really benefit from. So pay attention to the end. I think it's gonna be really insightful and you guys are gonna learn a lot. So let me jump over here to this MVI wrapped ether. So this chart right here is the Metaverse index. Okay. So basically what we're tracking right now is Metaverse coins in comparison to Ethereum. So when this chart goes up, there's a basket of Metaverse coins that are doing well. Okay. And then when this chart goes down, that means that Ethereum is doing better than those basket of Metaverse altcoins, right? Which is a good indicator to look at because for obvious reasons, the altcoin we're going to be talking about today is a Metaverse altcoin. So I want to be clear, we have to look at the market conditions before we jump into the actual project. It's called trickle down economics. Guys, if you're just buying project because someone said to buy it on Twitter or YouTube, you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to make sure the ecosystem is flourishing first. You have to make sure the ecosystem is on an uptrend, which brings me to my point right now. Look, we've been on an uptrend against wrapped ether, and we just broke through this support that we've been making for a pretty long time since, June. It's not a long time in, real financial markets, but it's a long time in crypto. And we broke through. So it's going to be hard this is just a negative, right? When we make these videos, I want you guys to understand is that we try to hit it from pros and cons, not just pros, right? And if you appreciate that, do me a favor, like the video. This gives you a level-headed perspective. You know, people can blame and point fingers all they want, but I always say both sides of the case for a good reason. It's because it's good practice and it actually makes you money. Now, again, it could be that the Metaverse index is losing right now and it broke this trend is because it could be because Ethereum is just doing well. It had this nice little bounce. It's been doing well in general. You know, Bitcoin, kind of brought up the market a little bit, and Ethereum tends to follow it. So it could be just not, the Metaverse index is doing bad. It's just Ethereum's doing good. Remember, we're comparing the MVI versus Ethereum, right? So pay attention to that. I already showed you guys the band news, but let's talk about this coin called Syncity. Now, it's very interesting Metaverse project. You guys know I've been interviewing all the biggest Metaverse games in the industry, so I do have a unique take on what's going on, and I think they're doing it right for sure. They are literally like doing everything right, and that's why I have to talk about it. When things are going a little bit too smooth, you have to be skeptical always, right? And vice versa. When things look really bad, you have to somewhat get optimistic and look at it from the other side of the story. So the credibility behind this coin is absolutely ridiculous. Let me just be clear with you guys. The credibility behind this project's insane. And you could potentially make a lot of money because it literally launches tomorrow or the next day or whatever the case. It's literally launching in the next 2 days, depending on when you're watching this video. So maybe it already launched. Hopefully you guys watch these videos quick, but yeah, let's go over the token launch very briefly. So as you can see, it hasn't started. We have literally a less than 24 hours. So hopefully I'll get this video out before then. But you can see they're launching a token called SYNR. It's basically behind this game called Syncity, and it's basically kind of like Mafia in the metaverse. That's basically the gist. But obviously they're taking it very serious, and they have ridiculous team, guys. They have a ridiculous team. Look at their community size. So their community size is already 192.6K followers, and they have not even dropped the token yet. That's pretty big. If they look at their Discord, they literally have 224,000 Discord members. Absolutely ridiculous. If we look at Telegram, we see literally 106,830 members. They have done something right with the marketing side for sure. And if we look at the tokenomics, this is the only thing I really see that's bad about it, is the fact that they're giving only 27.5% to earns, and they're giving about only 5% to this copper round that we are experiencing here with the token launch right here, this copper round that's happening in less than 24 hours. They're only giving 5% to the public, which it bothers me, but there's a lot of projects like this that are like super beefed up, like super strong fundamentally. They're just partner with a lot of people, and they give away a lot of their token supply so that they can get these partnerships. This is essentially what they do. So it's not always a bad thing. It's pretty bad. I mean, they can dump on you for sure. They will probably dump in the beginning. There's a good chance of that. But long term, this helps build the project, right? Because they have all these partners, they have all these people with vested interest. And they want the project to do well most of the time, not all the time. They also have this really interesting tech called Syndicate. You guys can look into it for yourself. It's basically a decentralized autonomous organization type of coin or community thing that you can launch funding rounds, kind of like crowdfunding rounds, right? So they are integrating with Syncity, and I think it's very interesting that they're going that route. They're calling it the layer 3 metaverse. So literally it's a third community layer on top, and I think it's really interesting. And Syndicate, by the way, has been investing in some big people. Everybody knows who this guy is for a venture capital firm. So you see some big players with credibility, right? If we look at the tech, they're definitely taking it serious. If we come over here to technology tab, you can see that they're using the greatest tech, right? They're using real-time development platform C#, the industry standard for cross-platform game development. The game will use this technology stack to enable an advanced graphics rendering pipeline. So they're going for obviously the high-quality gaming experience. And they're definitely putting it on a blockchain. They have their own proprietary way of putting it on a blockchain. So hopefully it's not centralized. It looks centralized, but hopefully it's not. And they're also using, just to give you guys a heads up, it's not the best, but it's kind of necessary for the gaming industry right now. But they're also using, Amazon Web Services, which supposedly has 99.99 whatever percent uptime. So, this is a common thing for all games. This game is beefed up though, guys. It really is. There's a lot of people behind it. Let's scroll down a little bit and kind of just show you some of the credibility behind it. So we have some big investors here. If we scroll down, we have some big partners. YGG, they're obviously big. Neo Tokyo and Alex Becker is getting behind this. We see a lot of credibility from the NFT space. Let me click the team so you guys get a better perspective. But yeah, if we look at the team, it's pretty stacked. It looks like they're all coming from Tron, which is very interesting because Tron had like the first GameFi back in the day. they're pretty stacked. I mean, the advisors, just alone the advisors, big YouTubers and stuff like that, like multiple people with like serious credibility within the cryptocurrency industry with a lot of credibility. Let me say it again, a lot of credibility. Obviously, they got paid, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this project is pretty solid. In general, they have a lot of again, like I said, I want to be clear. They have a lot of partners. A lot of big people seem to be backing this project. So pay attention to the token launch. To be honest, I'm not sure if I'm going to get in, but it is happening very soon. All right, let me just touch on one more topic really quickly, guys, because I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Alex, we can go into a bear run. We can go into a bear run. And it is a possibility. There's always a possibility for the market, for me to be completely wrong, trust me. And the market just goes into a full-on bear run. But let me kind of just make you feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to explain two concepts. The first one is the law of expanding cycles. So every time we have Bitcoin, going through a 4-year cycle, if you want to call it a 4-year, expands, it takes a little bit longer. And then the second concept I want to explain to you is the fact that, we're really far into Bitcoin cycle, and, we're actually coming up on a halving event in the next 2 years. So the halving event is kind of around the corner. It's in 2024. So let me show you something. So if we look over here, you can see that we have these big halving events in Bitcoin's price where, they decrease the issuance by half. That's what it's called, right? And the whole point of that is it's increasing scarcity. But you can see that even like a year before, in this case, it was a year, right? A year before, the price of Bitcoin was pumping. So the bear market stopped a year before. Look, as you can see, the dates, November, and then you see right here, November, 1 year later. It's November 2011, November 2012. So you don't have to be that scared. Like, the price of Bitcoin will pump before the halving event. So even though I say that the halving event's in 2024, it will start pumping in 2023. Like, if it follows, what it usually does, right? And this is a massive catalyst for Bitcoin's price. It was the biggest one. It is the biggest one, I would say, still. We do have the demand side and utility narrative that's coming into play, but this Bitcoin halving event is extremely significant. Also, if we look over here and kind of look at the bottom there, you can see it's a little bit longer, right? So we have December, January, around that time, 2015, and then the halving event happened in June 2016, so more than 1 year, right? Now, if we look at this bear market and where it stopped right here, we have December 2018, and the halving event happened in May 2020. Okay, so again, 2018, 2020, even a little bit longer. So you can see that the hype and speculation, start like pumping the price of Bitcoin before the halving event. So even though the halving event's in 2024, we're coming up to a point where it's going to probably people are going to start getting bullish on Bitcoin's price again because of this halving event. Like, we're coming up to that point, especially if we finish off this year. So, worst case scenario, we have maybe 8 months of a bear run. If it does happen, if it doesn't, I love thinking in worst case scenarios, but I'm not investing like that. So just to be clear, I'm still like all in, right? And I will hold to the bear run if it happens. And then, I'll wait a year and then the market comes back and then you get, 100x gains and then we make a whole bunch of money like every other cycle, right? If you just wait a couple years, like, you win in cryptocurrency every single time. So rest assured, guys, I gave you evidence why Bitcoin's price probably still in a bull run. I still think it is. Even if it's not, we only have like a year left or, people start FOMOing over the Bitcoin halving event. It's okay. I showed you guys a new token that has massive credibility. You can do your own research, check into it for yourself, and do not let these guys fudge you out of the market with this Russian news. They're using the same rule book over and over again. It's almost a slap in my face. Like, we know what you're doing. Stop trying to manipulate the market. All right, guys, we're going to end it on that. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this, guys. Catch you in the next one.